you find
ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
And you're muted.
I think Steve actually did that because I made sure I wasn't muted. So welcome to News from the Pew, where we take news from around the interwebs and we talk about stuff. I am your host, Rick Barrett. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com. With me, as always, are my co-hosts and my panel. We have Jonathan Arrington from the great state of Georgia hanging out with us. And we have the one and only Steve Cunningham, who is still trying to shake that cough up. He's doing what he can. And I won't even tell you what he's trying to do to actually get rid of this cough, because it's actually pretty, I'll say interesting at this point. Just okay.
Well, just go.
Yeah. So, let's get to it, folks. We're going to be talking about Trump being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Taylor Swift's Psy-Op has completely ruined this news cycle, and continuing issues at the southern border will be pretty much our talking points, our foundation for today's show. Now, let's start with the serious one. Let's talk about the escalation that is taking place at the Texas border since the last time we all chatted.
But I'm just thinking, like, who would throw a 1-year-old into a river like that? I mean, like, this is just really, really nuts. And we have no idea who the heck these people are who are coming. Do you think they're getting background checks? Do you think they're showing ID? You know, if you want to get on a commercial flight in this country, you know, you got to get basically a cavity search. You got to show ID. You got to go through all the security. These illegals don't even need photo ID. They can fly on our planes without photo ID. You talk about putting the American people last. What the hell are we doing in this country? It is a total farce. General?
Cobra Commander.
He's sending 10,000 troops, I think.
Why not?
Well, our government is not taking care of us. Biden is literally committing treason by not protecting our sovereign state. So we have to take it in our own hands and protest.
Look at these hardened soldiers.
Oh, it's a tough one. You know, it's a tough one. You know, we got our government in Washington, and they really need to, take,
We can already tell Steve and I are going to be talking about these interviews. First things out of their mouth.
Stand out there because there ain't no traffic. Okay. Here it comes.
What is this, Steve?
Border-backed convoy is waking up in Louisiana
okay.
this morning, getting ready to hit the road toward Texas.
You knew what was
in
coming.
an effort to raise awareness about the crisis at the southern border and what is going
Fed
on
up.
there.
How do you
Stephanie
get
Haynes
buses
is
that
live
quick?
in Denham Springs, Louisiana, not far from Baton Rouge.
Fed up. It's
So
this whole
Stephanie, how are
convoy
things looking
glows.
this morning?
Hey, Marky, good morning. This is day 3 of that convoy. I hope you can see some of the trucks parked out here
We see
behind
one.
me. I expect everybody's sleeping inside this hotel. It's early this morning. We are in Denham Springs, Louisiana, as you said. Everybody getting some rest because it's been a long journey, and they have a long journey ahead. You know, some of these people jumped on this convoy all the way back in Virginia and then went on to stop in Jacksonville, Florida, which is where our News Nation crew was just yesterday. And they report a couple dozen cars leaving on that track when they left to come here to Louisiana, and they hope to continue to grow this caravan. After meeting here, they're going on to Dripping Springs, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. And from there, the group is going to host a pep rally and split up, either going to Yuma, Arizona, or Quemado, Texas. As you said, all of this to express their outrage and concern about the record migrant encounters at the southern border. They hope their activism will inspire leaders to do something about it. And they also hope that they can show their support for Texas leadership as, in their view, stands up to the federal government on border enforcement.
We need to stand up. Our voices need to be heard. You know, we need to bring people together. That's our right, as our First Amendment right, to peacefully assemble and redress our grievances, for our government. We have not been able to do that.
Okay, so the plan here this morning is to have everybody meet here at 8 o'clock, and then it's a 9 a.m. takeoff time, and we will follow them, Mark.
We'll work the budget. So, sister. All right, thank you, sister. Do we have somebody that we want to ask that you bless every single man and woman here?
With that framework, right now our federal executive branch is completely illegitimate, and it is completely conducting lawless activity since it came into place with the help of the Chinese Communist Party, with Ukrainian and other elements throughout the globe.
Where did my guy Daniel go? There's Daniel.
We're showing support for Texas, just like the 28 states are showing support for Texas also. We're against the lawlessness of the country. We're sick and tired of the Biden administration.
Florida National Guard. So he didn't say the video. I didn't have him saying that, but yeah. Hey, go for the pep rally.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, that glows beyond belief with fed people that are there for the other reasons. But Texas has continued to put in razor wire and all these other things in Eagle Pass, even though like 0.5 miles down the road, there are wide open gates that people can walk through to make it not as secure as it would be there.
Yeah, now they're using trucks.
Yeah,
container units.
Yep. I don't know who that guy is down there, but all right.
He's pointing at you, man. He's a fan.
He's pointing at me. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's definitely something that is interesting. I mean, we're hearing that there are sectors in Arizona that are going through the roof now because Texas is kind of shut off for now. But between the fact that this is becoming more of a show, more of a distraction to what else is going on around the world. We have issues in Ukraine that are kind of heating up. We all know the Middle East with the Houthi rebels is primed to head right back to the Middle East because we were only gone for 2 years. We need to get right back in there because we're losing time.
Well, here's your girl.
So, what?
Here's your girl.
What was that
My
something
girl.
that he should have
The
been doing?
very first strike that hit,
Oh, yes.
you punch
Yes,
and you punch
Nikki.
back hard. What they should be doing is
Get
going
it.
after every ounce of production of those missiles. Wherever those missiles are, you take that out. You keep doing, you take
Nikki
out
gets
the
a
training
bonus
sites.
with every
You go and
400
But does that
missile
risk
fires.
escalating a war?
Does that mean striking Iran directly? It means striking the resources that are allowing them to hurt our troops. That's what you're doing. It's
Didn't
not
Nikki
going after
cheat on her
their-
husband
They're backed by
twice?
Iran. Iran says that they're not
Absolutely.
declaring the shots, but Iran's training them. They're providing intelligence. They're providing weapons.
And this goes
There
back.
would be no Hamas without Iran, Hezbollah without Iran, or Houthis without Iran.
But
yes, you're
striking
going.
Iran is a really big escalation. And
You go after wherever those missiles are, the production, wherever it is in Iraq and Syria, you take that out. Wherever it is in Lebanon that they're doing that, you take that out. You go after the leaders making the decisions. It's not after Iran, the country. It's after the people who are making these decisions. When
Who live in
Soleimani
Iran.
was assassinated, it sent a chill up their spine. They literally, it took their breath out. You have to be strategic. It's not starting a war. It's actually preventing.
Wasn't Soleimani going for a peace mission
Yeah.
at that time, and Trump bombed him?
Yep.
Like he was
Well,
literally
Steve, you have
going
to
to
realize you have
stop
to
a war to
you have
go.
to carpet bomb for peace.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
you cannot have peace unless you carpet bomb the entire country of Iran.
And Trump assassinated it. He was going. The dude was going for peace, and
Yep.
she brings that up for the example.
That was the only thing that they liked that Trump did. That and they, remember we sent some
Jonathan,
missiles
we
into the-
can't tell people we're from South Carolina anymore, man. We just can't do it.
You're from South Carolina. You're from North Carolina's basement. That's where you're from at
Well,
this point.
I'm proud to say that she didn't last a full her full term there. She had to get out before she could finish it. So that's something to be
Didn't she
proud
get
of. I guess.
reelected?
I think so, but yeah, she didn't stay through the full second. Like
Yes,
she
it's
left
true.
early. So
That's right,
Yeah.
because she was a UN ambassador. I forgot.
Yeah,
She told
Trump
us that
took her
every
away for
15
UN.
seconds that she couldn't handle it. But yes. So between Jason, what am I talking about? I don't know why I looked at Steve and I thought Jason, but that is what it is. Gentlemen, between the fact that we have these two, you have Biden looking to start a civil war with Texas and a real war with everybody else. Jonathan, will cooler heads prevail, or are we're just down for the chastisement at this point?
well, I think it's just continuing to go the way it has for the last several years, and that is that more heads of folks that we would normally associate with normal Americans are I think thinking about these things a little bit more reflectively now. And it's probably gone that way ever since Iraq 2, or at least ever since the aftermath of 9/11. So let's say from 2004 or 5 on, more and more people are just waking up to the reality of what goes on in the international world of professional warmongering. So, whether or not the powers that be are going to succeed in pushing this through to the bitter end, no clue at all. But I think the one thing we can take solace in is the fact that more and more of the people that we would normally associate with, we're not looked at as quite as crazy as when I was first talking about 9/11 truth stuff back in the day, 2004 or so. It just the looks you would get. We were one out of maybe several hundred, but now to talk about and the international war connections that really want war to go on pretty much perpetually, obviously with little reprieves here and there just to make it somewhat believable. We can talk about that publicly, and I think get support even from outlets that before just would not have countenanced such a thing. So that's the only bright side I can see to all this, that more and more people are red pilled in that regard.
Yeah, that's very true. Between either the fact that the economy is terrible, that immigration is awful, the fact that we always seem to be on the verge of another war somewhere, everything is completely off the rails. Let's just bring this next part into our story. There's only one man that could save us, and that is the man who has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, and that is the one and only Donald John Trump. who's ready for peace. Ready for peace. Yes, I am. I'm ready for peace. And this is not a huge deal, folks. He was just nominated by, I think, some state senator down here in the South. The chances of Donald Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize are about the same chance as me dunking a basketball tomorrow. It's pretty much slim to non-existent. But it is kind of funny to see that, him actually being mentioned in there. It does bring up the fact that while he was a crazy man, that indeed outside of the drone striking and the killing that he did of that one guy, the rest of the world did kind of take a step back when Trump was in office and didn't really want to deal with any of this nonsense. And now we're seeing a complete and total 180 where everybody's trying to get, I'll put it this way. Trump is like the teacher and Joe Biden feels like the substitute teacher in right now. Everybody's trying to get their stuff in before the teacher actually comes back into the classroom. And that's what it kind of feels like with Donald Trump right now doing that. And so it's very interesting all around. Steve, your thoughts on, and I know the first thing you're going to say is everybody talking about, well, our nation. It's like, nah, man, your federal, no, stop it. Your Texas government is the only government you should be worried about. Don't worry about the fact that Joey B's threatening to federalize the National Guard, which you can't do, because if you federalize the National Guard, then there's no reason to have it for your state militias. But, your thoughts.
Well, I mentioned with was a Catholic Drive Home show with Joe that the rhetoric is weird. You're not going to find anybody who wants to break this thing up more than I mean, there's quite a few others out there, but Catholic world, I'm really weird for being a secessionist, I guess. The rhetoric from all these other ones, like Oklahomans, we're sending the troops. We want war. We want a battle. We're ready to take on the troops. And someone else brought that point up, going over barbed wire. This of everything that was going on, the rhetoric from the powers that be in the states. Great, stand up against the feds, call it out. I mean, Biden should be kicked out of office for what he's not doing. This is direct violation of his oath. So yeah, and that's not saying we want Kamala in, but I mean, if you want to go after him, this should be the like, hey, get the ice cream machines ready. He's done. We'll stick a fork in him and he's done. I mean, this is it. I mean, this is direct violation of that. I mean, it's just weird seeing the call for violence in a sense. Now, will that happen? I doubt it. I mean, it's not going to go Hunger Games that are going to nuke the 13th district, but I mean, I'd put my money on the 1st Texas Battalion than the LGBT military. They have no chance. Plus, the Texas heart is there, whereas the people that signed up for the military to get their student loans taken care of, their heart is not there. They're just there to, do 2 sit-ups maybe and get, build a bridge somewhere, humanitarian aid. They're not in for. They're not wanting to. They don't want to do any of this stuff. The Texas National Guard or whatever, they will. They are down for it. I mean, I was telling a guy at the gym, he's from Canada, and I'm going, dude, you don't understand. For 160 years, people here cannot wait to go round 2. They want that again. I mean, after the Battle of Samoa, they should have. The South didn't go to D.C. and march on D.C. They could have. They could have burnt that darn thing down to the ground and have been game over. They just wanted to be left alone. It was the North, the aggression there that wanted to come down and make them submit to the federal government again. The South could easily have had this thing been a one battle and one and done type deal. It's like, all right, you want them? They had the best generals, the best heart, the best shooters, all that.
Best cause.
Same thing in Texas. These guys wake up in the morning and start shooning things. I mean, you're there. You know how it is. I mean,
I just shot some stuff right now before I went on.
Caricature, but I mean, compared to New Yorkers or anything like that, yeah, it's just again the rhetoric of wanting to go to war on it, the Civil War idea, which the first one wasn't a civil war because we didn't care about that government. We wanted to establish a new one. Like, you guys go ahead, you live with the one that's not working. We're going to stay down here and we're going to make a better one, which they did. If you read the Confederate Constitution, there's a book that compares both of them. They fixed the problems in the original Constitution. It was really good. Look it up. No, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to read. You're not supposed to think. Just get told, like in The Simpsons, when Habu tries to get into U.S. citizenship, and what is the cause of the war? And it gets into these things and goes, just say slavery. Just say slavery. You know, slavery it is. You're in. Yep. No one wants to talk. No one ever cares about talking about that. But yeah, and it's the seeing the national, even the national the ideas that there are in the buses going, yes, First Amendment. First Amendment is Congress shall not pass. That has nothing to do with a trucker shall not. Guys, it's a nationalist thinking on literally everything. We have to have a national with the Planned Parenthood thing. There's 6 pro-lifers got thrown in. They're up for jail for 11 years for protesting outside a Nashville abortion facility. How in the wide world of sports does protesting outside a Nashville, Tennessee abortion clinic have anything to do with the federal government in any form anywhere? None. It doesn't. How's that a federal issue? It isn't. Tennessee, we're talking about like how Texas standing up for its sovereignty. Tennessee should come out and say, you know what, Fed, protect your own citizens. Tell the feds, they ain't no way in God's green earth these people are going to jail for you or anybody. They didn't cross anything outside the state of Tennessee. The feds have no authority to go into Tennessee to criminalize anybody in that state. That's another, the hypocrisy or the inconsistency right there. Tennessee should be up there, right? That should be the big news right now. Not even the border, but the border is big. But where's that? Where's standing up for its own citizens? Because you got the other guy that we talked about, the guy that took out that statue in Iowa. He crossed borders, so that would be a federal issue because he crossed from Mississippi into Iowa to take out a statue that's in the Iowa State House. And yes, sure. No, I'm not talking about, hey, it's just he's going to jail for it or whatever. I'm sure he's going to spend this and get more money out of it. And he's going to win his next election, whatever that is, because it's a great PR thing of his. But everyone needs to make it a federal. DC has to tell us how to live. And like you said before, I mean, this was back in right after 9/11, since Jonathan brought that up. This is Governor
9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
I mean, did Nikki talk about Lebanon? Are we going at the war with Iran right now? We had 3 people killed in Jordan. Was it there was a drone attack? Why are there troops in Jordan? Anybody declare war on Jordan? No, but we're all over the place right now. The sun doesn't set on the American empire, but we want to go to war with Iran. They've been wanting to go with Iran. Was it that we showed the video last week of them wanting to of the bombing in Yemen that no one talks about. Here's a
currently focused on the southern border. What's happening down there? I think in that sense, Americans are finally beginning to wake up to something that I and others have been talking about for years. That's a good thing. But they're not too terribly concerned about the Israelis and what they do until, of course, we are drawn into war in the region. That's another matter entirely. And
And Israelis doing their own version of Holocaust right now.
We're very close to that.
We'll get to that in just a moment. Is Israel no longer feared by other Middle Eastern state actors?
I think that the Middle East, its elites, certainly the governments of Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Lebanon, no doubt, they all want to avoid a regional war. They want to avoid it because they know what the damage will be to their infrastructure. They know the consequences for their populations, and I think they fear their removal. But the point is that events are moving to that precipice of removing them as it is. The populations in the region, the Muslim Arabs in particular, and the Turks, I would say, are very close to it, are so angry and so enraged. They're ready to fight, regardless of what the costs are, to destroy Israel. I think this is something everybody misses. Mr. Netanyahu, in my judgment, was wrong when he said destroying Hamas and removing the population in Gaza was an existential requirement for the state of Israel. I don't think it was. I think he could have scaled back his objectives and achieved a degree of security that could have been infinitely better than what already exists.
His commitment to international law is unwavering. Equally unwavering is our sacred commitment to continue to defend our country and defend our people. Like every country, Israel has an inherent right to defend itself. The vile attempt to deny Israel this fundamental right is blatant discrimination against the Jewish state, and it was justly rejected. The charge of genocide leveled against Israel is not only false, it's outrageous, and decent people everywhere should reject it. On the eve of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day,
what we have to do is try to stop the suffering in Gaza. This is women and children, people who don't have a place to go. So let's address that. But for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Mr. Putin's message. Make no mistake, this is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now, as you know.
You think some of these protests are Russian plants?
I don't say they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated.
So a peace deal in the Middle East that pretty much the only people that vote against it are these United States is Putin's thing.
Oh, yeah. It's all about Putin, baby.
How dare that man want peace in the Middle East?
Right. No, him and Trump and all these guys are just megalomaniacs for power and glory and just continuing to destroy by doing nothing and just, existing at this point.
Huh. But no, I mean, they've been telling us for 20 years they want to take out Iran. Lindsey Graham a couple months ago, bomb Iran. Don't care. Let's just bomb Iran. We need to bomb Iran.
Yep. Both Graham and Cornyn have been saying that even more recently that, you got to bomb and take them out. Which,
I mean, your boy Church has a bomb Iran music video. Yep. I mean, because it was said so many times by Graham and.
Oh, don't forget John McCain, the greatest warrior ever.
He wanted
to. Yep. The crazy thing is, people thought Iraq was a really difficult place to fight because it was. Iran is 3 times the size of Iraq. It is a massive, massive country. And we couldn't do anything in Afghanistan because of the mountains. It's got everything that you would not want to fight in a country with. It's got mountains, it's got ocean, it's got the desert. It's really everything. And yet the arrogance of Americans that we're just going to roll in and carpet bomb them and they're just going to give up. It shows they didn't learn anything from Afghanistan or Iraq or any of the other 400 undeclared wars and places. The 10-year bombing campaign in Yemen that we've been a part of. I mean, the military-industrial complex rules. Is really, we talk about the elite class, but the elite class is the military-industrial complex, and then everybody else, because that seems to be who everybody's doing the bidding of, left, right, center, libertarian, or non, because that's who pays.
Yeah, even RFK Jr. He's all about going into a war.
RFK Jr. He's not thirst trapping. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone thought he was going to be he's going to be the Ross Perot for the Dems, but hey, don't worry. Michelle she'll end up coming in.
She's not, dude. She's not gonna run. She's not running. She is not running. I am telling everybody, she's not running.
It'll be the last minute they're going to come in. Trump Carter. That's the Trump card for Trump, because Trump's going to win this thing if it's any kind of a selection. There's no way in God's green earth they can't cheat to get Biden back in, because that will just literally know that, wow, this is really rigged. There's no way even dead people aren't voting for that guy. But, hey, unless they get rid of him and then put Kamala in like they said right now, or there's a couple weird things going on in DC, but yeah, I bet they're gonna throw Michelle in.
It will not be. I will wait whatever you want to wager within the $10 framework, because that's all I can afford. I will wager. I've wagered you're a high roller. I've waited. Yeah, that's all I got left. That's how confident I am. I am wagering everybody. It will not be Michelle. It won't be. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want it. And you're going to tell Big Mike that she's going to have to do something?
Oh, she'll love to do something. She'll tell Barack to get over there and do this for me.
Nah. Nope. She'll have one bad press conference and not want to do it ever
again. I'll wear a Michelle wig if she does it.
Done. I will not. But I will do whatever.
You just have to do a show all in Trump voice.
That's fine. Okay. Done. Deal. Not a problem in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, Michelle is not running. She's not. I don't have many good instincts, but this is one that's right on. This one is dead.
I would bet you a steak dinner, but the only thing I can do is do a Walmart steak, and that would just trigger a few people.
I know that's not local, buddy. That's not local. You got to go out.
It'll be a $5 steak, but I won't be able to do it for you.
That's right. That's right. You're gonna have to go out, hunt and kill it yourself, bud, to in order to say, think local and so forth. But that's just, it's absolutely ridiculous. Big Mike will not be the nominee. And the border is connected to international policy, folks, because we're not talking about anything else but the stupid border right now. That's it. People are kind of talking about like the Iran stuff, and I'm convinced, and John's not here. I had to go once again, be a super awesome guy and teach like everybody else stuff because he's amazing. He would have told you that this is the trick. This is the thing that they're distracting you with. Speaking of distractions,
well, I mean, also you got they're arresting the farmers in France right now. They're going in their homes and taking them out. You got Australia just went 100% digital banks, and there's reports of guys not being able to get out $300 because their bank won't let them now. That's the new the transhumanism.
That's the wave of the
new
future.
World coming.
It's the wave of the future.
You got the food crisis, which they're creating. What else? Other thing that's going to kill everyone else, but I'm thinking that's going to take out a bunch of people that got jabbed. Yeah, how many people that just died recently?
For what?
Oh yeah, watching a football game can make you die. Did you see that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, next week then, not this week, but next week, many people may die because the Stupid Bowl is taking place not this week, right? Next week.
Next week. The Pro Bowl is this week.
I'm done. I watched a little bit of football. I'm not watching the Stupid Bowl. I'm not watching the Pro Bowl. I'm not watching any of that nonsense. Especially as I thought it was going to be the Lions versus Kansas City, because I thought it was going to be Eminem versus Taylor Swift. I thought that would have been a really big ratings thing.
I told you. I got the script right here. They have the script out.
It's not fair. You're reading the WEF playbook. So you have the inside track. But the real just absolutely just shows you how stupid conservatives are, is that they've fallen for this Taylor Swift Psy-Op thing, which
had enough of Taylor Swift for now.
She shouldn't be liberal. She should be a total conservative, given everything.
The Pentagon Psy-Op unit pitched NATO on turning Taylor Swift into an asset.
Yesterday, she flew private from New York City to Baltimore.
Yet she constantly talks about climate change. So just please don't believe everything Taylor Swift says. We're all begging you.
I think she should just stick to her singing and let her love life be what it is.
The New York Times just speculated she's a lesbian.
A new poll shows 18% of voters are likely to vote for whichever candidate Taylor Swift endorses.
Biden effectively has Taylor Swift as his VP.
A single post of hers led to 35,000 new registrants. That's arguably
incorrect.
more power than the president.
She's sharing links. And her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, sponsored by Pfizer.
What's her stance on policy, economic policy, foreign policy?
I don't think that'll be.
So don't get involved. Don't get involved in politics. We don't want.
I had no idea it was that bad. I don't have cable TV like that, and nor do I watch it. I just did a quick search.
I just saw it on Twitter. I just saw it on Twitter. I didn't even see it on
people are sharing around. It's a fake AI video. It's the one from the Pfizer day, the scam days, the Rona days, when it was like this, this is danger to our democracy. An AI voice came over it. So if you see this is not real.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Taylor Swift is not
People
a
are
psyop.
thinking this is a real thing.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Taylor Swift is not a psyop. Taylor Swift.
Like people just share just to share. They see it, they look, they click it. That's not a real one.
Nope. And the fact of the matter is, folks, she came out for abortion in the Senate race. She backed the lady. She backed the candidate against Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee. She shared the Biden cookies, all this other kind of stuff. She's a lib. Who cares, right? And that whole thing where 35% or whatever that case is, if you actually break down the numbers, and of all people, Tim Pool broke them down, out of like the 252 million subscriber or people who follow her on Instagram, if you even cut that to 50 million and say half of that is unregistered, that leaves 25 million in the air. It was only about 18,000 or, about 18,000 people that registered, which is not moving the needle on anything. So Republicans and conservatives, once again, putting their foot straight up their nose in the culture war by doing all these kinds of things. Do you have you don't have the Jack Pacific one, do you? Because that is just peak cringe. Everybody thinks Jack is this like cutting edge guy.
Been sort of tweeting about this Taylor Swift thing. I've been focused on the ballot operations, which is clearly coming later on in the fall. I've said, sunlight is the best disinfectant. See the op, call the op in real time. Let's get in front. Let's get ahead of this and diffuse it before it gains critical mass. You've been tweeting some stuff that you've uncovered on it, and now the entire regime has decided to turn their cannons on us. Why?
Is this his real voice? I've never listened to him.
That's his real voice. Yeah, that's his real voice.
Okay. Why are they protecting her so much?
It's amazing because they spent months before this telling us that Taylor Swift was the secret weapon for the Biden administration and that she could swing the election and that she was such a critical asset in terms of the fate of the 2024 election. And then basically a bunch of us said, yeah, she kind of is. And she's being used for this purpose. And basically because the receipts were so damning, they went apoplectic and said, well, wait a minute. You can't repeat back to us the words that we ourselves said. That's misinformation. And, the surround sound on this is just unbelievable. That Benny Johnson clip you played is absolutely classic because it's CNN, MSNBC, Variety, Forbes, Salon. It's Wall Street Journal. It's New York Times. It's Washington. Everybody has joined forces to protect this pop star who already has probably the biggest PR shop on the planet. And, what's amazing to me is that this appears to go above and beyond the typical partisan politics of jockeying for influencers and cultural figures.
I was joking saying that she's the Super Bowl MVP, but I had no clue that it was this conservative talk shows were this big on her.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to do when these news cycles are 24 hours and you just run out of stuff to talk about. So we have to talk about Taylor Swift. Also, the capitalist in me understands that this is the easy. This show is probably going to get more views than it usually does if you put Taylor Swift in the title. You put Taylor Swift Psy-Op in the title, we're probably going to get twice as many views now just because of that. She is the golden goose, like Trump was in 2016. All you had to do is mention Trump, and your ratings jumped by, they doubled. Taylor Swift is the exact same thing. So you have all these idiots on the left and the right talking about how great she is with her blah blah blah, and her storybook romance to this guy and yada yada you. And folks, who cares? This happens all the time. Like, celebrities date other celebrities. It's no big deal. It's really not. And I understand, Taylor Swift has the power of white woman on her side, but can we all just calm down for a couple minutes? Because this is really, really embarrassing.
She's meanwhile, no one knows about this that happened a couple of days ago.
It was an assassination. Now, in terms of the legality of this, after 7th of October, there is a legal justification for that, whether you believe it or not, but they can claim that this is legal. They've been going after Hamas wherever they find them because of what they are and what they do. But doing it in that way is very suspect and is tactically foolish because it makes Israel look like Hamas. It makes it look as if they're doing Hamas' job. What they should do, and this is the counsel of perfection, is that they should go in as uniformed police or uniformed troops, surround it, try to arrest the people they're after, and if they resist, then you shoot them. That's what you're supposed to do. Of course, it's very hard to do, but taking on this sort of assassination by playing it being hospital employees is not a clever idea tactically, because it just strengthens everything that people say about the IDF and what they're doing in Gaza. It strengthens that sense that they're behaving a bit like the terrorists themselves.
If anybody doesn't know what's going on, the IMF went in dressed as hospital workers and blew people away.
Yep, just completely murdered them. And,
but like you said, distraction. Know what everyone's focused on? Either the pep rally now at the Texas, which we sent a video that talked about this one guy who was a comedian that drove along the border. And I don't have it up here, but Rick and I were talking about it before last week or a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Well, here's all the cameras." And he went a mile down the road. There's no cameras. Doors wide open. Goes to another half mile or a mile. No door, no anything. Walkway, no cameras. Nobody's there. And the moral of the story was the TV's going to make you pick, what side to be on, who to be upset about, who to be angry about, who's to do. You get all riled up over, and make a crisis out of nothing some reason, because that's TV. Just like there was Corbett did one on the media, and he mentioned just an easy one. Take like a box, and just that's what your screen is. But what's going on over here? Just like Trump going down the escalator. That was if you take a step back and see the whole picture, you see that it was a production. It was set up. It was to make you think that was going on. That was organic, just like this thing. I mean, yes, there's a problem down there, but like I said, something weird, something different. It's just not sitting well. I mean, it's one of those things like Abbott, who's a big Zionist, and
he's a WEF guy.
Coincidental that all of a sudden he's now the way he's doing it. It's just
right. This is what Steve was talking about. Right there. This is 5 miles. This is half a mile away.
What's going on, guys?
We don't need to hear him. Blah 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 blah. Let's go. So Steve was talking about. This is the Eagle Pass part, right? Ooh, look at all the machine guns and blah 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 blah. And then they just drive up a little bit of a way, and they're right there, right there. Folks. They're not even trying. They're not even trying. That is a border between these United States and Mexico. And it's literally like 2 barn doors that are just wide open, and anybody can walk through it. And we're in the guys with the AR-15s. We're the Humvees. Where's even a Texas state trooper like driving, sitting there? Nothing. You might as well have a welcome sign. That's exactly right, Lou. Right? You might as well have the Catholic
Anthony's
Charities waiting there.
Through that.
What?
Anthony's head could not fit through that.
Yeah. You might as well have Catholic Charities waiting at the border to just drive them on up. But look at this thing. And this is not, he's like, that's just not the only one. There is another one. That one doesn't even have a door on it.
They didn't get around to that one.
Yeah. They're just like, whatever. And it's just all over the place. So this guy, credit to him. He actually did film that. And it is a huge deal because everybody's like, Texas is, and it's great. Yeah, watershed moment for states' rights. I get it. Blah, 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 blah. It's nice. There is a level of that. However, Abbott is a WEF guy. This is a great distraction from everything else. It makes Biden look weaker. You could say it would be a better case to remove him if he lost this stand down or this standoff with Texas. All these other things. It helps Greg Abbott if he wants to be a nominee in 2028 or be a part of the cabinet if Trump wins re-election. And Black Pigeon Speaks actually brought up a really good point on YouTube. He said the deep state actually wants Trump to win, and this is why he said it. He said the deep state would be more than happy to exchange a Trump win and them to focus on the border in exchange for Trump looking the other way and letting them do whatever they want internationally.
The local news talked about yesterday here, saying that was it Trump asked the supporter governor, congressman not to vote on something that was coming up yesterday, or was it was part of the border, but it was something about basically the gist of it was to keep the problem going.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me. I mean, government does not exist to solve problems. Government does not exist to solve problems. Once you get that through your head, you realize that they're nothing more than a theft, stealing your money while printing money out of their own that isn't supported by anything, reason to cause more problems. So you have to continually need them. So government is a virus, and essentially.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not going to cut their own hands. Let's fix this so they don't have to come back. Let's get that. There's no even like say Afghanistan, when they left Afghanistan finally, when they never should have been in, they still left it. They left stuff there. They left it was a cluster. You know what? When they did that, I mean,
I wanted to fly over to Afghanistan because there were M4s and Humvees and everything else. You just pick it up at the friggin' market. There was no 4473 or anything.
As Judge Knapp says,
market and be like, hey man, can I get that M4?
As Judge Knapp says, they can't deliver the mail correctly. You think they're going to get these bigger problems fixed? Yeah, it is.
No. And that's actually the crazy thing about the mail is one of the few things in the U.S. Constitution that they actually have authority to do.
Yeah.
And they still can't do that right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was telling a friend earlier today, a lot of what you're seeing, the problem is there's a lot of people complaining. I know we're just trying to bring it up. I mean,
we don't get paid, folks, unless we bring it up.
Running for offices in local and states. If you want to fix a local state, you just can't wish for it to happen. You got to actually do it too. Now, if you think voting for one person to get in DC to fix everything, that's when you start going to you're high on something, and please let us all share in what you're getting high on, because that's a level no one really knows about. And there's some guys out there that will tell you, say, oh, don't worry, it's all corrupt. It's never going to be fixed. Anarchy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, if you just tweet harder, you're never going to change anything. You got to actually, get involved instead of complaining and acting like a moral superior on Twitter or every day. You got to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, it's all at the local level. It can't be done at the state level, or even it can't be done maybe at the state level, but I know people.
You can at least fix that. Sure. Is there tyranny in local and state? Yes. Why? Because no one's trying to get involved anywhere. So if you want any kind of fixing, you got to get some holy and virtuous people running for all levels of government. Then you have a chance of fixing things.
I mean, if you really wanted to do something if you wanted to put a stopgap in, folks, if you want to put your fingers in the dam to even give yourself a chance, you got to get a good attorney general. You got to get a good sheriff if you can elect that. Those two, they're stopgaps while you try to fix everything else. If you have a good attorney general and a good sheriff, they can at least provide you a little bit of protection while you figure out everything else. But yeah, looking to Trump, and he is approaching. I mean, Trump's ego was bad before, but it is approaching almost God tier at this point in his ego, where people are just like they followed our Lord and Savior just to touch his cloak. Maybe that'll heal me. I mean, at this point, if Trump didn't have Secret Service, they'd be if I only touched his coat, maybe I can MAGA or something like that, or whatever the case may be. So, yeah. Oh, maybe we will have the Tex Cathedra guys talk about it, because Sally Sue's saying that video, that TikTok is garbage, because the reason those gates are open are for the oil workers, and that there's actual barbed wire down the road. So, good shout out for the Tex Cathedra guys. They got a good podcast. Go check them out on YouTube and all the places, because they have the information, ladies and gentlemen, that we clearly did not take the time to research.
I had no clue. Yeah, I saw.
I was a victim of the TikTok stuff too.
If you want information from Texas, you got to get some people that are in Texas.
Yeah, I don't live close enough to the border. All right, I live like 7 hours away. That's 3 states for you people. So at this point, but yeah. So thank you, Sally, for that. We'll definitely follow up with that. Maybe. But the fact is, like, Trump, if I touch Trump, maybe I'll get the vaccine, or whatever the case may be, because he is the father of it. And it is really kind of sad to see people just toss away. And the crazy thing is with this, and then what happened in New Mexico earlier this year, how the governor of New Mexico blatantly violated the Second Amendment, or the right to keep and bear arms amendment of her constitution. And everybody rallied around that for 3 days. And then they got a judge to put an injunction in, and then they just forgot it. Right? They just forgot about it. Here we have a state standing up for its sovereignty, and people are like, yeah, that's great. Now what's Trump going to do about it? It's like, no, you're so close. It's like, yay, but you don't turn it back to Trump. Like the guys at the beginning of the video was going to make, our federal government ain't doing it. They're not supposed to, bruh. They're not supposed to. You're supposed to take care. Let me and the Texas Cathedra guys figure out how to secure the border, right? We'll put a 14-foot high fence up with with Gatling guns on it. That sucker will be secure in 20 minutes. So
yeah, I mean, like we brought up last time, and I brought it up with the one show. I mean, it's look at the Texas, the Kentucky nullification write-ups, and you'll see it. It's Texas has the right to, let anybody in who they want to let in. It's almost a reading of the 14th section 1. But yeah, it's a nullification thing on here. Is right, you don't have to follow it. This isn't federal top down thing. But I mean, if the feds are derelict in their duty, then hey, sorry, we're just not going to sit here and take it. We're going to do something about it, which you see it was at the National Guard in Texas. They had the Texas flag on top, and the come and take a flag underneath.
The Gonzalez flag. That's what it was, a Gonzalez flag. They put that up. So, yeah, they did that. I think, I don't know if Steve is frozen or whatever the case may be, but yeah, they put it up. It's not as big as the Texas or the U.S. flag or the Texas flag, but yes, they did indeed put it up. So hey, that's something.
But it's one. That was one guy's video on the border, the line. And we had the other video earlier in the show that the lady showed people down the stream crossing a river too. So. Yeah, I'm sure it's more than just one area that they're crossing, but that's why they're putting up container units, which good luck climbing over that thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is dropped. Eagle Pass has dropped down to, 6 migrants a day instead of 10,000. It's just that they had to take that and kind of spread it other places. Mm-hmm. It's not gone. And I don't think you ever will get it gone. You can definitely slow it down. But the fact of the matter is, people are
just weird with the rhetoric. DeSantis sending 1,000 troops. Oklahoma sending 1,000. How many 25 other states wanting to send? And was it the Oklahoma governor the other day talking about wanting, maybe civil war? Going, why do we
always have to go to that?
What's the goal here?
Why do we always have to go to that, folks? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants civil war. No, nobody wants that stuff. That's not That's
like I said, I'm all for a breakup. I'm sure if Trump wins, there's going to be some kind of breakup. I'm hoping for it.
Yep.
I don't think anybody should be saying, "Hey, we want to start shooting each other." That's no.
It's the fat idiots that don't know how to do anything. They want to start the shooting again. It's like, nah, can we not do that? That'd be great. That'd be fantastic, and so forth. So that way we don't lose power and all the other things that'll take place. And it's just
they want that. They want the conflict. Was it if you ever seen the what's his face? Jack Ryan shows on Amazon.
Yeah.
Was it season 2? It was the Venezuela one.
Yep.
It was the big thing in that he ends up cutting. They end up stopping the election, and all what breaks loose.
Yep.
And there's guys here there's people thinking that what if Biden stops the election? Well, there's a lot of talk about that, trying to get in the wartime. Let's not do an election right now because we're in the middle of World War IV. Whatever's going on at the time. We're in 6 different nations bombing everybody. We can't have a change of power right now. Imagine
well, you remember
that
if you ever look at U.S. history, no president that has been considered a wartime president has ever lost an election.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to be said that they want to turn Biden into a wartime president. So maybe that factor can be put back in there as well. So we'll see. We'll see in that regard. I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, good enough.
That's what we're all about, folks. Just good enough. So, all right. Well, in that case, bud, Saint of the week, Cry Room.
I'll do the Saint of the week of we'll go with the pro-life people that were sentenced to prison. Let me see if I can get that video up. I didn't download it, but here they are. That's what we talked about earlier. They're getting face a maximum of 11 years. There should be no reason the DOJ should be. This should never be a federal thing. This shouldn't be a federal court. None of that. I don't know how in the wide world of sports that happened. Cry Room. I don't know what happened cry room wise. Can I put Tay in the can I put all the conservatives? I'll put the conservative telecast. I can't stop talking about Tay in the cry room. You know who they are. They're Legion, apparently.
That was the talking point. Everybody must speak about Taylor. And we all must, she's a 35-year-old single white woman and she's got a boyfriend now. Congratulations. That's not like breaking news. So it's all right. They'll have a surrogacy kid and have it unnatural and all this other kind of stuff, and people will celebrate that, blah, blah, blah. All right. So for me, for the cry room, let's see here. I actually need to set this up a little bit better. I'm going to go cry room and then Saint of the week, because my Saint of the week is absolutely banging. But for my cry room, the first one will be from Firearms Policy Coalition, because Steve had to make the joke about this being the Daily Mag Dump, which it will be, and Daily Mag Dump will be on in about an hour. So make sure you stay in for that. First one is from the Policy Coalition, and it's from South Carolina. There you go. Look at that. South Carolina keeps winning. Right now in South Carolina, State Senator Luke Rankin of Horry speaking out against the permitless carry bill, claiming he would rather stand with the police than the rights of people. You're a loser.
That's Myrtle Beach area.
Right. So him and Nancy Mace are hanging out. That's
Nancy's in Mount Pleasant outside Charleston.
Oh, here's my Saint of the week.
Big bridge. That's Mount Pleasant.
Here's my Saint of the week. Fetterman, the greatest conservative in Congress right now. Because he really is, if you actually listen to him. The dude, he's playing to type. He showed up in a sweatshirt. I want this sweatshirt. I actually want this sweatshirt.
I'm surprised you don't have it now. Wear it on the show.
I'll have it next week if I actually could afford it. I would totally have it. I mean, this guy is the greatest troll ever. I just have to give it to him. I mean, he's playing his part. So, but he's also saying some pretty base things. So it's 2024, baby. I actually put Fetterman in my Saint of the week. Because of his trolling and for his immaculate taste. It's just so good. It's so good. I love it.
I put AOC as the Saint of the week a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we don't have any more conservative heroes here, buddy. We're pretty much We got nobody left. You know, we already put Vivek in there. I mean, I did, so I can't keep putting him in there. And we can't keep putting Nikki. We could make a rule, put Nikki Haley in the perpetual cry room until the end of her primary season, just because she's terrible. But yeah. So there you go, folks. Nice little catch up here on News from the Pew. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew to stay up to date on everything. Bless you, Steve. I'm going to mute you. We'll talk to you all next week. And even in a bonus, maybe we'll get a picture. I will actually see Steve next week when I'm at the Carolina Catholic Men's Conference. Check that out. I'm going to put a link to that in the comment section down below. There's a, if you could still sign up, there's still time. I will be at the Carolina Catholic Men's Conference. If you are in the area, you can go check it out by going to that link in the comment section, CatholicMenOfTheCarolinas.org. Don't go see anybody else. I mean, Enoch, maybe, he's going to be there. And you could see Steve. But folks, I'm going to be there. That's the only reason to be there. All right. God bless. We'll talk to y'all next week. Viva Cristo Rey.